What is habitat destruction? Habitat destruction refers to the loss and destruction of natural environments to an extent which they become inhabitable. A habitat is an environment which meets all the needs of an organism in order to survive. This includes a space to live, food, and other resources. Habitat destruction can result in many disadvantages for the environment. When a habitat becomes destroyed, it may become incapable of providing the resources an organism needs. Habitat destruction can cause species to go extinct, which results in the loss of biodiversity. The plants and animals that once lived in an environment would no longer have a home. This could lead them to becoming endangered or extinct. The loss of biodiversity has a direct impact on the planet. This also affects us as humans. Our food can become more vulnerable to pests and diseases. This can make humans more susceptible to infectious diseases such as zoonotic viruses. Causes of habitat destruction. Habitat destruction can take place for many reasons, such as for animal agriculture, deforestation, oil exploration, mining, urbanization, and water diversion. Animal agriculture is one of the main causes of habitat destruction. It is when animals are raised for the purpose of animal products and recreational uses. Deforestation is another main cause of habitat destruction. Deforestation is when forests are cut down and cleared by humans in order to make room for other human activities.
A zoonotic virus is an infectious disease that is contagious, infecting humans from non-human vertebrate animals. There are over 200 different types of zoonotic viruses that we know of. These pathogens can range from milder diseases to more complex and fatal ones, and it may be hard to tell the difference between an animal who carries one and one who does not, as they may appear to be healthy. These zoonotic pathogens can be bacterial, viral, fungal, or parasitic, or they can have unusual agents which can spread through humans through numerous different ways. This includes through water, food, or the environment. Direct contact includes coming into contact with animal fluids that come from their bodies, including petting. Indirect contact may be coming into contact with a location where the animal has once contaminated. They can also be vector-borne, like being bitten by a mosquito or even through contaminated foods. Some illnesses, such as HIV, began as a zoonotic virus, however they later evolved into being human-only strain infections. Others, like COVID-19, possess the capability of causing pandemics or epidemics worldwide. These viral infections may cause more of a risk to markets carrying byproducts of wilder animals and for workers in the agriculture industry, as many of the newer viruses are undocumented or new. There are a variety of different ways to diagnose them, which include observing clinical samples, running antigen tests, and doing molecular biology testing. There are a few different types of classifications for these viruses. For example, cyclozoonuses require more than one species that has a vertebrate. Ferozoonuses are diseases that need both animals with vertebrates as well as those with invertebrates to facilitate development, and saprozoonuses consist of both a host that has a vertebrate and a lifeless place to develop.
West Nile virus is a zoonotic disease which is spread to humans by mosquitoes. The virus is transferred from infected birds to mosquitoes and then humans. It has a high mortality rate in birds, humans, and other vertebrates. West Nile virus was first discovered in Africa and then spread around the world. It is most prominent in Africa, Europe, the Middle East, North America, and West Asia today. The threat from West Nile virus was increased as deforestation rates increased. The virus is more likely to spread in areas with less biodiversity. Tropical forests are home to many birds and mosquitoes that can carry West Nile virus. When these forests are converted into spaces for agriculture or other uses, they create an environment for mosquitoes to transmit the disease to humans. Ebola is a zoonotic disease that is spread to humans by contact with bodily fluids of an infected animal, such as monkeys, chimpanzees, and fruit bats. It can also spread by touching contaminated surfaces. Ebola originated in Congo, Central Africa. It is now most prominent in Africa and the Philippines. It is suspected that the Ebola outbreak, which took place in 2013 to 2015 in West Africa, was caused by deforestation. The destruction of natural habitats is allowing a spreading ground for Ebola in areas where humans live close to and what used to be forest. When animals that carry this virus lose their habitat, they become closer to humans, which allows Ebola to spread rapidly.
The plague. The plague is a bacterial zoonotic virus beginning from a bacterium called Yersinia pestis, a Coccobacillus. Its common vector is called the Oriental flea. There are 3 different types of the plague, including the bubonic plague, the septicemic plague, and the pneumonic plague. Deforestation done for the expansion of agriculture increases the exposure to it, as the rodents who have a lower capability of carrying this virus have a tendency to pass away, allowing the area to possess a lower amount of biodiversity with an abundance of hosts. Due to the lower amounts of biodiversity, they will eventually find a way to urbanize regions, increasing the chance of a flea jumping onto humans. Lyme disease. Lyme disease is an enfeebling viral infection brought by the spirochete Borrelia burgdorferi and is commonly transferred to humans by ticks. These ticks are often found alongside forests or rivers, lakes, or oceans that are grassy or wooded. The illness was proven to spread more with less species richness, the reason being because some species of animals are much better at spreading and being a carrier than others. These species, which are typically rodents, have the capability to dominate other species when habitat loss occurs. As you can see, all of the given examples as carriers need to leave their habitats in order to survive when they were being destroyed, forcing them to come into contact with humans. When coming into contact either directly or indirectly to humans, we are more susceptible to contract their viruses.
How does habitat destruction relate to the risk of new zoonotic viruses? It is proven that biodiversity reduces the threat of zoonotic viruses. When habitats are destroyed, biodiversity decreases, which increases the risk of zoonotic viruses spreading to humans and animals. As humans destroy the natural habitats of animals, we are welcoming zoonotic viruses into our own environment by bringing wildlife closer to us.
When changing the natural landscapes of ecosystems through the process of agricultural urbanization, the species in that environment often become displaced. Habitat destruction causes these displaced organisms who possess the zoonosis carry it into regions where there are more human populations for themselves to survive, allowing it to further spread. There is then a drastic increase of encounters between the disease and humans. When an ecosystem has richness in biodiversity, the zoonotic viruses do not spread as much, the reason being because some species of animals are much better than others at being a carrier and a better source of the disease. The species with a lower capability of carrying the zoonotic virus have a tendency to pass away, allowing the area to possess a lower amount of biodiversity with an abundance of hosts. Due to the lower amount of biodiversity, they will eventually find their way to urbanized areas, increasing the chance of these viruses spreading to humans.
When there's a higher amount of biodiversity, the diseases can remain at a moderate level, but when there's a lower biodiversity with some species who are suffering, the animals who are better at carrying and distributing the viruses will strive in accomplishing just this, and will thrive in the environment. Biodiversity loss will often encourage more transmission of the virus by increasing the amount of capable hosts for it.
This concludes our presentation on how habitat destruction relates to the risk of new zoonotic viruses. We hope that there will be more precautions taken by the government when obtaining resources such as wood from ecosystems, decreasing the amount of habitat destructions that humans cause. Zoonotic viruses can be fatal, thus we hope that you can stay safe by living sustainably.
This could mean using less paper products, reducing meat consumption, and using recyclable, reusable, or biodegradable products. Another way of reducing the spread of zoonotic viruses is getting vaccinated against them if possible. For example, zoonoses such as rabies are preventable through vaccinations and washing and sanitizing your hands after being around wild animals. We can also protect ourselves from insects using insect repellent before going into an area where insects are prevalent.